Hello everyone, I hope this message finds you fit and fine. My name is Shashank Tyagi and I welcome you all to Contest series of Indian polity based on Lakshmikant book. Today we are going to talk about Preamble of Indian Constitution. As mentioned in earlier session also, objective resolution was the source of Preamble, right? Preamble consists of philosophy of our Constitution. By reading Preamble, we can unlock the brain of framers of Indian Constitution. Whenever there is ambiguity in any phrase of Indian Constitution, then you can look what Preamble says, what philosophy, what pillar is mentioned there. Now, let's start with reading our Preamble together. We the people of India. This phrase stands for the fact that this Constitution is actually a document which is given by people of India to themselves. Because Constituent Assembly members were representative of people of India, right? This very phrase was taken from US Constitution, and US Constitution took this inspiration from the views of famous political thinker Rousseau, who also his ideas inspired French Revolution. A beautiful link here. Now, having solemnly resolved to constitute India, it means people of India are constituting India into sovereign. Now we are talking about nature of state, which we are calling India. It is sovereign, it is socialist. We are going to understand each keyword, right? Sovereign, socialist, secular, democratic, republic. Now these are features of Indian state, right? Now to secure to all its citizens, it means now we are talking about objective of India, right? Objective is justice, social, economic, political. It means three type of justice we need to ensure. UPSC has asked question on these objectives. Liberty. Liberty of what? Liberty of thought. You can think without restriction, although there are some reasonable restrictions in place if your liberty of expression is actually threat to India's integrity, security. That we are going to talk about later, but the point is liberty of thought, expression, belief, faith, worship. My friends, you should think why these words were added in first place in Preamble. Why we need justice as a core philosophy of Indian Constitution? The simple reason is, if system is representing injustice, would you like to follow the laws which are made by government? No. There will be rebellion. There will be instability. The only way to ensure peace, stability is where we have a system of justice which is accepted majorly by everyone, right? Liberty. Why you need liberty? You have brain. You have this capability to think, act, to contribute in society. Now tell me, if liberty is not mentioned here, now government can impose restrictions over you. And if government imposes restriction over what you read, what you speak, what you do you think you would be able to realize the potential which nature has given to you? No. And there is a famous saying, no state, no nation can become great by dwarfing its own individuals. अगर आप अपने ही लोगों को छोटा बना दोगे, dwarf कर दोगे, restriction लगा दोगे, then you cannot become great, right? That is why liberty is important. Then equality. Equality of status, of opportunity, and to promote among them all. Now, among them all, then it is connected to fraternity, but equality of status and of opportunity. Equality of outcome is not mentioned, right? Status. Everyone will be treated equally. It means there will be no special privilege for someone just because they belong to a particular religion, particular economic strata, or any such condition, right? You will be having equality of opportunity so that you can use best of your potential, right? Fraternity. Fraternity is very much needed as assuring the dignity of the individual and unity and integrity of the nation. If we don't have feeling of brotherhood as fraternity stands for, do you think a nation can actually prosper? A nation can actually grow? No. We need to have a sense of brotherhood. My friends, these ideas actually make dent on the way a system is going to work, right? Means these values decide the future of a nation. That is why some nations who have strong values towards responsibility they have, towards duty, we have better outcomes in these areas. So these are not mere words. They have impact. In our Constituent Assembly, this 26th day of November 1949, do hereby adopt, enact and give to ourselves. It means people of India are giving this constitution to themselves, right? So why this particular statement is used? So that it established the fact that people of India gave this constitution to themselves. It means now this constitution is legitimate. Now the institutions established as per the provisions mentioned in this constitution are legitimate, laws as per this constitution are legitimate, and you have to follow them. And when you follow, then only best outcomes can be achieved for India. Now, let's understand what are the different components of Preamble. First, what is Preamble? Ingredients of Preamble: history, keywords, status, amendment, and some fun fact. Now, so as you open a book, so first what you find a preface, right? Now, Preamble is like a preface which is talking about what is actually there in this book. So it's an introductory statement, explains philosophy and objectives of this particular constitution. You can remember this famous statement by N. Palkiwala. UPSC has asked question on these statements. Preamble is identity card of the constitution. Identity card. Basic details are mentioned. Rest are elaborated in form of different parts in Indian Constitution, different articles. Now, Preamble to Indian Constitution inspired by the Preamble of the Constitution of USA, as I mentioned with you. Now, ingredients of the Preamble. This categorization can be done. Sources of the Constitution. Who is the source of power of the Constitution? People of India. Because we, the people of India, give ourselves, right? Objective are justice, liberty, equality, fraternity. Please remember, 4 objectives: justice, liberty, equality, and fraternity. Sovereign, socialist, secular, democratic, republic are not objectives. These are nature of Indian state, the status of Indian state, right? And date of its adoption was 26th November 1949. Now, when we look into the history of Preamble, we find objective resolution which was proposed by Mr. Jawaharlal Nehru on 9th December 1946, which was adopted on 22nd December 1946. So, although Preamble is not enforceable, when I say enforceable, it means you cannot knock the door of court saying that, oh, this particular provision, this particular word is mentioned in Preamble and it is not being implemented. We plead to the court that please implement it. Court will say, beta, from Article 1 to other articles, these are provisions of Indian Constitution, right? So there are 2 kinds of provisions. One are enforceable by law, and other are which are not enforceable as of now. You cannot knock the doors. Then you would think, if it is not enforceable, then why it is added? It is added so that it can be used to understand what constitutional framers meant by certain article, by certain phrase, right? So it is used in interpretation whenever there is ambiguity. Ambiguity means when there are more than 2 meanings deriving out of a particular sentence, then you can look into Preamble. What are the keywords? We, the people of India. It indicates ultimate sovereignty is with the people. Now, why this arrangement was made? So that no government in future can undermine people, because ultimately, who is the source? People are the source. Sovereign, this term represent that you are beyond any external or internal influence. It means Indian state is completely free to take decisions with respect to internal and external matters. So sovereign word represents that you are independent authority, you are not a dominion. Okay, you are not a dominion. Internal external matter, your decisions would be considered final. Now the second word, socialist. Why we added socialist? In our history we know that a private company came into India and then became territorial power, made us slaves, colonial power. Now the point is, we have seen that private company worked for its own gain, sidelined what was necessary for the common masses. Exploitation happened. So this can only be resolved when nature of Indian state is socialist. It means government should think of people on ground. They should ensure that power, resources should not concentrate in the hands of few people. It means achievement of socialist end through democratic means, because this word socialist has different connotation. For example, Marxian and Gandhi both talked about socialism, but they had different views. We are going to talk about it. So it means this word socialist, I hope it is quite clear why it was added, right? Now the point is, this was not part of original preamble. It was added later, 42nd Constitutional Amendment Act. My friends, our preamble has been amended only once, during the time of Indira Gandhi ji, and then at that point of time the socialist word was added. Now why this socialist word was not in original preamble? Because our constitutional framers thought already in part 4, directive principles of state policy, we have mentioned the provisions that these should be directives when government is going to plan policies in future. Government has to take care of socio-economic development of the people. Government has to take efforts so that resources are not accumulated in few hands. Government has to make efforts to reduce exploitation. So it means these provisions were very well present, then that's why they did not add it specifically. But Indira Gandhi ji's time it was added. This is democratic socialism. It means we believe in democratic processes. We elect our representatives, and on the basis of these representatives we have a government. So through this democratic process we want to achieve socialist outcomes. Now UPSC 2 years back has asked question on the difference between Marxism and Gandhism, Marxian idea of socialism and Gandhian idea of socialism. Let's understand this difference, although you should know that when socialist word is used in Indian Constitution, when socialist based principles are used in our DPSP, they are tilted toward Gandhian socialism, not Marxian socialism. Now what is the difference? Please have your attention here. Marx, who born and who grew in Prussian state where we have Germany now. So he was living at a time when there was rapid industrialization, and in this industrialization he saw that government is not making any law for protection of the interest of workers. Workers are bound to work for 16 hours, 17 hours in difficult circumstances, and they are given meager wages. And what is the result? That these workers are exploited continuously. And who is accumulating the profit? These factory owners, these capitalist class is actually accumulating these profits. So at that point of time, he said we need scientific socialism. And he said it is a prediction that it is going to come. Marx said, I'm not saying that this will be a fabricated attempt. No, it is bound to come. It is natural. He said, since there is accumulation of wealth towards these factory owners, capitalists, there will be a lot of difference between haves and have-nots. Haves, those who have capital, surplus, have-nots, those who are just fighting day and night for meager survival. So there will be a stage when this difference between haves and have-nots will increase to such a level that these have-nots will attack these haves. There will be a violent revolution. Now Marx said it is scientific socialism. He said, what I am saying is scientific. When we use the word scientific, science as a discipline is based on observation and telling the principles how things are working. So he said, I have observed this. In history, always, there are two kinds of classes. One are exploiter, other are exploited. In ancient time, there were masters and slaves. Masters, exploiter, slaves were exploited. Then we had lord and serfs. Lord, having big land holding, serfs who used to work as bonded labor. And now in modern time, we have capitalists, big and factory owners, and workers are like exploited class. So he said at every point of time, society was divided into two classes. And cause of this exploitation was that exploiter was having a lot of resources in hand. An exploiter could actually gain these resources not due to some natural fact, but because the system was in favor of this particular class, the exploiter class. And how it happened, I'm going to explain. But he said violent revolution is the only solution. Because person who has nothing to lose is the most dangerous person. He can do anything. Right? And same was true with respect to these workers. They were not having any property. So that is why Marx said, workers of the world, unite together. You have nothing to lose but your chains. Now, some of you might be thinking why he was telling this, because he wanted to emancipate the worker class. So this is one fragment of Marxian socialism. But when it comes to Gandhian socialism is based on this idea of moral individualism. Gandhiji brought morality here. Gandhiji said, real cause of exploitation is that we have wrong conception of dignity. In our society, we give more dignity to intellectual labor than physical labor. And this is the root cause of exploitation. And that is why Gandhiji brought the concept of dignity of labor. That the work of barber, work of sweeper is equally important, is equally dignified as work of a lawyer. Right? So he said if we bring this shift, this moral shift in society, then this exploitation tend to reduce. Apart from this, Marxian socialism stands for the point of social ownership. Social ownership. What does it mean? He said the cause of exploitation is ownership, because only few have ownership. They have accumulated wealth. Now I'm giving you an example. Consider you have a factory and you have to make this remote. Okay? And to make this remote, you have spent 20 rupees, say in raw material, transport, and etc. 30 rupees you have divided among labors, right? So it means total cost is 50 rupees. But you have sold this particular remote for 100 rupees. Now you have earned a profit of 50 rupees, right? So now this profit is accumulated in your hand because you are the factory owner. Marx said, this remote is a social production. So many people, laborers, they give their time, they give their time, they give their efforts to make this remote. Then why not profit is actually shared with them? It is a system which we have created. He said, this is a natural fact that this remote is being created by contribution of different laborers. This is a natural fact. But this is a fabricated arrangement. This is a fabricated arrangement. This is a social construction. We have created this, that profit will be with only that person who has invested in this factory. So that is why he favored social ownership. It means when it comes to these profit, even these labor should have ownership of this profit. But when it comes to Gandhiji, Gandhiji was never in favor of this idea. Gandhi said if 50 rupees are profit, then you should also respect that entrepreneur, because he invested the intellect, he arranged this factory, and that is why he said, yes, it may be a cause of exploitation, but we can reach to a better concept, which is trusteeship. Gandhiji said, out of this 50 rupees, it may be possible that this particular industrialist will spend 10 rupees on his own well-being, another 10 rupees or 20 rupees for further investment, and remaining 30 rupees, this person which is having this 30 rupees, this can be spent for social welfare. Because ultimately Gandhiji was also saying that every production is a social production. So if you have accumulated some wealth, don't think it is your wealth just because it has come into your bank account. It has come into your bank account because system is designed in such a way that you are considered as owner of this 50 rupees. But who made you owner? The system made you owner. Who made the system? People made the system. Why people made the system? Because some people could actually gain power by making this system. So Gandhiji was in favor of trusteeship model, right? So this is the basic difference between Marxian socialism and Gandhian socialism. I hope it is quite clear to you. Please remember the keywords: scientific socialism, moral individualism, social ownership, trusteeship. Okay. Now, attempt this question, because sovereign socialist, now we need to understand the word democratic. Okay. So UPSC might ask this kind of question: democratic character of Indian polity is not manifested in. So UPSC will give you certain options and ask which of the following is not a manifestation of democratic character of Indian polity: universal adult franchise, periodic elections, rule of law, independence of judiciary, absence of discrimination. And options, obviously these are the options, and you have to select from 1 and 2, only 5, only 3, none of these. Aapki shraddha hai. Whatever option you want to make. This is the question. Now some of you might use your brain and say, democratic character, not manifestation. So universal adult franchise is manifestation of democratic character, right, in Indian polity, that you have voting power. Periodic election, yes, elections are connected to democratic character. Periodic election, these are necessary for democratic character. So not mein ye to nahi aana chahiye, it should not become in note. Rule of law, rule of law. It means no one is above law. State cannot engage into arbitrary action. Is it connected? Now, independence of judiciary. What is the connection of democratic character with independence judiciary? Some may actually question that. Absence of discrimination. How it is connected to democratic character? So it means these two options, people connect with democratic character obviously, but when it comes to these other three options, people don't usually connect that much obviously with this democratic character word. But the truth is, all 5 are manifestations of democratic character, because you cannot think of democracy without rule of law. Law should be supreme. Only then you can think of democratic character. People would be able to exercise their choice only when there is low rule of law. And this is possible when there is independence of judiciary. Whenever a particular party, leader, they commit certain mistakes or certain actions which may threaten the democratic character of Indian polity, you can go to court and court can pronounce a judgment. Don't you think it is necessary? Right? In earlier times, there used to be a lot of cases of booth capturing. Means some local politicians have collided with some ground people, and now they have actually taken the ballot box and ran away so that they can influence the elections. So now judiciary actually took several judgments to strengthen the position of election commission, and that's how democratic character of Indian polity could be, you can say, saved. Similarly, absence of discrimination. My friends, democratic character word is not just form of government. Democracy is an idea which talks about equality as well, liberty as well. You have liberty, then only you can exercise your right to vote. You have equality, then only you will think, yes, this government is equally mine as equally as it is of this rich person. So democracy is a substantive idea. It is quite wider, right? So absence of discrimination is necessary. Then only people will participate in the election process. Otherwise, people will think this is wastage. Now, coming to the word secular. The word secular which India is having is different from the connotation of word secular which is prevalent in France or some other European nations. When this word secular became popular in West, it was about clear separation between state and church, because they have seen dark age of Europe where church was having control in executive power, in legislative power, in judiciary. Church used to sponsor mercenary fighters also. So they have seen the chaos which religious people made at that point of time. So that's why they wanted that religion should be a matter of private sphere, and when it comes to public sphere, only state laws should run the show. This is clear separation. But when secular word is used in Indian preamble, it is different. It is based on Sarv Dharm Sambhav. It means religions in India get equal respect, protection and support. Support is also there. Protection is also there. Respect is also there. Right? So it incorporated in preamble by 42nd Constitutional Amendment Act when the word socialist was added. It was not originally part of Indian Constitution. Why? Because our framers thought we already given so many articles which represent the secular character. Why mention this word separately here? Democratic constitution gets authority from will of the people. This is the meaning. Will of the people. People are deciding who is going to rule, right? And from this I asked that question. That democratic character, this represents the manifestation of these points, right? Indian Constitution provides for representative parliamentary democracy. What does it mean? It means we elect our representatives, and then these representatives, on the basis of majority, then government is formed, and this government is actually responsible towards legislature. It means they have this status of having government only till that point they have majority in legislature. Right? Now, the word republic, it represents that head of the state is elected. Means it is not hereditary. For example, Britain cannot be considered as republic. Britain is a monarchy, right? But India is a republic because a head of the state is president and president is elected. Okay? I'm making some statement. You have to tell me the statement is true or false. The position of Prime Minister in India, or you can reframe it like this also, that Prime Minister is elected in India for a term of 5 years, although this term can reduce before that. I mean, this term can actually finish, or this position may be absolved before that. Now, do you think that statement is true? What do you think? The statement is true or false? My friends, एक तो होता है गलत, एक होता है सरासर. ये सरासर गलत है. Because position of Prime Minister is not connected to election. You vote for member of parliament, and from these member of parliament, one person is appointed as Prime Minister. So there is no election for the position of Prime Minister in India, but there is concept of election for the position of President in India. That is indirect election. We are going to talk about it when we talk about President, but this difference should be clear in your mind, because UPSC play on these, you can say, keywords. And Prime Minister does not have any tenure. Okay? Because Prime Minister is there till the time this Prime Minister is having confidence of the House. Majority votes, majority of the Lok Sabha is in favor, of this Prime Minister or this government. Now, the word justice. I told you why justice was added, because only then we can actually maintain order in society, right? Promise through fundamental rights, DPSP, that state will ensure justice will be prevailing. Means how we can prevail justice? We have to strike on any ideology, any practice which is connected to injustice. So various protections are given in fundamental rights. For example, Article 15 saying that no one shall be discriminated on the basis of religion, race, caste, sex, place of birth. So don't you think It is an attempt to provide justice. Now, what kind of justice we have? We have three kinds of justice maintained or mentioned in our preamble. Social justice. What is social justice? It means you will not be discriminated on the basis of your social condition. Means social conditions may be caste, creed, gender, religion. You will not be discriminated on this basis. Economic justice. There will be no discrimination on the basis of economic status which you are having, wealth, income. Along with this, the state will actually make sure that enough earning opportunities are given to you. This will be economic justice. Political justice. There will be free and fair, right? There will be free and fair conduct of this process of election, and along with this, you will be given opportunity to vote and also present your candidature based on the criteria which is mentioned. So you have this right to participate in political process. This is political justice. And why this was added? Because, my friends, these laws shape your life, impact your life, right? And since they are impacting your life, you should have stake. You can engage, right? Most of the people think that social justice and economic justice is important, and political justice can be considered as third level, right? But a society in which people are not aware of the importance of political justice, in that society, authoritarianism, exploitation may be seen easily. Because people are not aware about their rights. People are not aware about their duties. People are not aware about the importance of engaging into political discourse. What is happening, what law government is making, why this is in debate. If you're not aware of this and you're not having any interest in this, then, my friends, this society may crumble soon. Because if you are not aware of what is right and what is wrong, then some people, crooked people, will rule you, will rule the society, and they will crumble the society, weaken our foundation for their own benefit. And that is why concept of political justice is equally important. When you are aware, you are participating in political process, then there are less chances that people can actually mend rules for their own favor or crumble the foundation of Indian polity. Equality. No special preference. No special privilege. And we have Article 14 to 18 talking about equality, fundamental rights related to equality. Why equality was necessary? This is also a modern concept. It means in ancient time, this idea of equality was not that much present. If king has said something to you that you will be given this punishment, and other person who has committed same crime, but that person was given less punishment. So at that point of time, if you are questioning the king, you will be terminated, my friend. But in present context, you have more rights. The reason, the concept of equality is quite prevalent here, right? Everyone is equal before law. Everyone is equal before law. Liberty. As I told you, importance of liberty. Only then people can realize their potential. Only then people can contribute in society. Only then India can actually progress. So liberty does not mean freedom to do anything. You have some reasonable restrictions there. Your liberty should not impact the liberty of other person, right? That is why some limits are also set by law. For example, in fundamental rights, when I'm going to talk about Article 19, subclause 1, subclause A, B, C, D, so then in subclause 2, I'm going to talk about reasonable restrictions also, right? Fraternity means feeling of brotherhood. It is also equally important. This way we can actually have support of one another, and support of one another is necessary aspect of any society. And this can be done when we promote dignity. That's how brotherhood is going to happen, right? Unity of the nation. So these are the three mottos of French Revolution: liberty, equality, fraternity, given by famous political thinker Rousseau. Now, attempt this question. The language and ideals of the preamble of Constitution India is influenced borrowed from which of the following constitutions? Answer is ABC, fourth. Now, status of preamble. Is preamble part of Indian Constitution or is just a preface, not a part of Indian Constitution? So there has been a debate on this, and now this debate is settled. In Berubari case, Supreme Court said that preamble is not part of Indian Constitution. They said actually it can be used to unlock the mind of constitutional framers. It can be used to interpret Constitution, but it cannot be considered as part of Indian Constitution. Open the mind, right? Now the first point which should come in your mind is why we are having this debate on whether preamble is part or not. There's a reason to that. If preamble is declared as part of Indian Constitution, then Article 368 can be used in Indian Parliament to amend preamble, because Article 368 gives power to Parliament to amend any part of Indian Constitution. So if preamble is considered as part, then Article 368 will be applicable and this can be amended. If it is not considered as part, it means power of Parliament to amend Constitution, any part of Indian Constitution, will not be applicable over preamble, right? Now, in case of Nand Bharti case, the Berubari judgment was actually reversed. Now, in case of Nand Bharti case, Supreme Court said, yes, preamble is part of Indian Constitution. Now, Parliament was like, we are elated. Now we can amend the Constitution the way we want. Kesanand Bharti case, Supreme Court says, अभी story बाकी है मेरे यार. पूरी बात तो सुनो. पूरी बात ये है कि you can actually amend preamble. Enjoy. But the point is, you cannot flout the basic structure of Indian Constitution. You cannot change the basic structure of Indian Constitution. Basic structure of Indian Constitution, this phrase is not mentioned in Indian Constitution. Then Parliament was like, government was like, what is this basic structure of Indian Constitution? Supreme Court said that we are going to decide time to time, because we are the ultimate interpreter of Indian Constitution. So as of now, preamble is considered as part of Indian Constitution. Parliament has power to amend Constitution. Yes, Parliament has power to amend Constitution, but Parliament has to consider that it cannot change the basic structure of Indian Constitution, right? Now, in the next case on the same topic, LIC 1995, in this case again, Supreme Court accepted, yes, preamble is part of Indian Constitution. So at this point of time, preamble is part of Indian Constitution, can be amended but cannot be flouted, the basic structure of Indian Constitution. Now, amendment to the preamble. There is only one time amendment happened, 42nd Constitutional Amendment 1976, as I told you. At that point of time, it was quite clear that you cannot change the basic structure. So taking inspiration from the provisions which are already mentioned in the Constitution, 3 words were added: socialist, secular and integrity. Socialist and secular were added between sovereign and democratic. It means telling nature of Indian state. Unity of the nation was earlier phrase, now unity and integrity of the nation was actually made here. Now there's a fun fact. On 26 January 1950, the final enactment happened and Constitution was anointed on 26 November 1949, right? So on this date, certain provisions of Constitution became applicable, right? For example, these articles related to citizenship, election and provisional parliament, and full-fledged Constitution was enacted on 26 January 1950. So I hope this short discussion on preamble, on important aspects of preamble, it's quite clear to you. So see you in the next video then. For this PDF, you can find this PDF in this Telegram group, Shashank Tyagi for you. I'm available on Insta and Twitter. If I could be of any help in your preparation, shoot me a message. I'll be there. See you.